You just got wrecked.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Wednesday. That's right, it's hump day. Welcome back to the channel, but today doesn't feel too bad. In fact, we do have some mild green across the board, mixed in with some mild red as well, but there are some darker green coins, which means some of the altcoins are actually starting to do quite well. And yesterday we were discussing briefly whether or not now is a good opportunity to start scaling into some of those altcoins. So I do want to briefly touch upon that today. Also, obviously, talk about what is going on with Bitcoin, because yesterday we were anticipating a potential breakout or even breakdown, right? You can see right here, look, we wicked up 1, 2, and we started the day off actually trying to push down to the lower level, but we're back where we started again. So bulls versus bears, they're just fighting tug of war both directions, but inevitably this is going to come to a conclusion, and I think it's going to happen within the next 5 days, and I'm going to show you why. It could even happen sooner than that, but we're going to talk about that as well. Also, Tim Draper once again coming out with his $250,000 Bitcoin prediction. Also, he did have a different reason this time. We're going to talk about that, and I want to show you this new chart that Plan B actually put out, talking about 9 years of Bitcoin mining difficulty and why it's actually a pretty damn bullish chart. But at the same time, we have bears calling for super lower levels, saying that we haven't had enough pain and we have to go lower. We're going to talk about all that today. I definitely want your opinion on this as well. Let me know in the comments what you think about what we're about to discuss, and if all of that sounds good to you, you know what to do. Also, if this is your first time checking out the Crypto Zombie channel and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? We do this every single day. And also every Monday we give away a Ledger Nano S. All you have to do is drop a comment on any video and you are eligible. So I actually had this pulled up to the gainers today. But yeah, I mean, we could start here. You can see the altcoins, Grin 24%. Maybe that was because of the anonymous Bitcoin donation. Maybe, possibly. Komodo 16, Chili's 11, Zella, DX, Chainlink, Icon, Verge, Siacoin, Neo, Bytcoin, iExec. So yes, altcoins are seeing the love today. Although Bitcoin dominance did go back up to 66%, so it was sitting a little bit lower yesterday. Fear and greed, kind of, low fear. I still don't really consider this to be anything too severe to really worry about currently. Yesterday, somebody was asking me, by the way, where I get the real 10, because I'm always zoomed in. I forgot to, zoom out. Basically, this is on-chain effects. It's over at masari.io, okay? But yes, I do go by the real 24-hour volume. Let me just show you why real quick, super quick if you're new. Because look, if we go over to the real volume, it says it's only $231 million, right? But now let's say we go back over to CoinMarketCap and we have a look at what the volume is for Bitcoin. Well, they're saying that Bitcoin's volume is 18 billion. 18 billion, obviously compared to 231 million, is very, very different. So basically what this does is it takes it from the top 10 trusted exchanges, okay? Essentially, that's basically what's going on, because we do know a lot of these other exchanges, they do wash trading, and a lot of that volume isn't real, right? I actually had a big discussion about volume in yesterday's video, but guys, stick with me here. I don't want to lose anyone, because somebody was asking. Now, you can see currently today, even though in the past 4 hours we've been neutral down, as we speak right now, the longs are up. And once again, this is over at Coin Farm if anyone is interested. So this is what's basically the situation. We are being held down by this basic resistance that we started right at the top of this wick, and it started holding us down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's see if we try to break it today. But currently, right now, we're more or less range bound between the $8,589 level and the $8,877 level. Now, one good thing I want to point out is we are back in the green. You can see we were down in the red cloud. We are back above the 200 exponential on the daily. So, I mean, we're very close to the bottom, so no, I wouldn't start celebrating just yet, but it's good to see that we are at least being supported by it. Now, I want to talk about the most obvious thing right now. Bitcoin is clearly in a wedge pattern. You can see right here, this is an example of a rising wedge pattern, right? Where basically it consolidates and it's sort of an upwards facing triangle, right? Now, I do want to point out right here, it says that the patterns have an unusually good track record for forecasting price reversals. So essentially, if you are in a rising wedge pattern, well, you'd look for the price to fall. And if you are in a downward converging or a descending, pattern, you'd be looking for it to bust outwards. Well, if you have a look essentially at this and we look at what Bitcoin is doing, I would say we are definitely in a descending wedge pattern, right? You can see right here, we obviously hit the top, We've hit the bottom, so we have respected it. But currently, you could see right here, we've kind of sort of hit a level where Bitcoin doesn't want to fall lower than. Now, why is that? Well, the interesting thing is if you actually take this and sort of extend it up to the top like that, which I've already done over here on a separate chart, you can actually see that we are getting supported by this sort of very weak support that we had back here right before we had that, what I consider to be a bear trap. Now, currently, if you look, we only have 1 or 2 days before we hit the apex of these lines. Now, if we are not able to break out of this and break above the $8,900 level, which is this red line, then we are going to fall a little bit lower. I still do think we will be supported by this trend. However, you could look, then the apex is looking around November 20th, which is why I said we could have a few more days. You could see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 or 7, 5 to a week, but you know Bitcoin doesn't usually get to the end. It usually does break out sooner than later. So that's the situation. That's why I'm saying right now we could have a massive breakout. If we're rejected, then I'm looking for about 5 to 7 more days of downwards consolidation. We might hit around 8.25, 8.3K, and then I do think that Bitcoin would probably blast off, because if we fell after that point, well, then it would basically invalidate, you know, this pump that we had here, and then we would just be back below this downwards resistance, which would not be bullish for Bitcoin at all. I just have to be realistic. But the thing that's holding us down essentially is this 55 EMA. You could see the significance of it right here. We actually touched it right here when we had this pump, and look where the wick actually hit, and we came down before continuing the major blast off, and that did support us for quite some time. So we are currently below it. I'd like to see us get back above the 55 exponential, because if we keep slipping below all these levels, the 200 daily, the 55, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just keep losing all these very significant levels, then yes, it is going to turn a lot more bearish for Bitcoin than it is bullish. But here's something bullish for Bitcoin, okay? The fact that we are looking for the 105 or 50 weekly to have a golden cross. Now, I kind of drew it in here, like what it could look like. This is just me hand drawing it. Do not like screenshot this. This is not accurate at all. But basically you could say, I just drew these lines in here where I'm kind of estimating, you know, if, you know, the 100 does slope down, if Bitcoin kind of takes a hit, you know, if Bitcoin takes a massive plummet, then you would see this line fall down. But inevitably, you would be looking for a potential crossover maybe by November 25th, the week of November 25th. And don't forget, we were looking for November 20th for the potential breakout. And also remember that these are lagging indicators, right? These crosses tend to come after, so you have to anticipate them, right? So yeah, I mean, for example, you had this death cross right here. Well, this death cross came way after the plummet. In fact, you know, if you had actually based it off of this death cross, well, at that point, we actually started trending back upwards. So that's why these are lagging indicators and you need to anticipate them, okay? So anticipating the fact that we're going to be having this, you know, golden cross, then I would say that yes, Bitcoin could consolidate lower, but then we would be looking for that blast off, because that would be 1 week before we actually put in the actual cross, which would, you know, validate the lagging indicator. So also getting back to what I've been talking about, I do believe that we are putting in a smaller version of what we've already seen twice already, looking for the dump, the consolidation, and the pump, you know, touching once, resistance, getting rejected. That's exactly what we did once, come down here. I think the next time we get above that $9,000 level, well, if we break above it, then that could be definitely good short term for Bitcoin. And the key level, the ultimate level, because everyone's like, what is the one level? What is the major level, the most bullish level you're looking for? Well, it's this top level right here where you can see the VPVR basically just falls off a cliff, and that's essentially $10,375. Okay, so basically if we can get above the $10,375 level, that would be very, very bullish for Bitcoin. And then if we could just close right here above the 10.8K where we had this, then we would be putting in a short-term higher high, and it's off to the races you go. So that's the situation with Bitcoin currently. However, right now, quite boring. We are literally being suppressed, bulls versus bears, squashing us in the middle. Volume is falling, and we definitely are in what I believe to be a descending wedge, which, considering that we came out of a drop, trend reversal should say the next move is up. But we'll see. We should have that within the next 5 to 7 days. Now, here is the super bullish chart I wanted to show you. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail because honestly, Plan B is very technical when it comes to the way he puts together his charts. But essentially, this just shows you Bitcoin difficulty, okay? The adjustment, he talks about the minor capitulations. But really, the only key takeaway, the simplest thing you can look at right here is basically, you can see we go red, yellow, green, and blast off, okay? And these all represent the adjustments, red, yellow, green. Okay, green, that one was a little bit more towards the top, but let me just ask you a question. If currently we are putting in a yellow, which is, the middle, the next arrow would be the green, and yeah, I mean, we'd basically be looking for some increase in price action. So pretty damn bullish chart. If you want to know more about the specifics, go follow Plan B, 100 trillion USD. This guy puts out charts all day. You can literally spend all day looking into the technicals of this, but I just wanted to sort of on the surface point out that, that's pretty bullish having a look at it. So talking about Tim Draper, you can see right here, he was over at the AIBC summit, and he basically says that he is still doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on his $250,000 Bitcoin prediction. He's aiming somewhere around 2022, 2023. And when they asked him, on the panel, or he was on the TV screen, essentially what he thought was going to push it to the next level, well, he actually said Lightning Network, which I know right now a lot of people are going to have a lot of things to say about, but I do believe that within the next 2 to 3 years, the Lightning Network is going to be substantially better than what it is today. I mean, just think about any technology. Think about like the first iPhone, the first anything, right? It's going to get better in time, right? Also, crypto asset manager and trader Marius Landman, I just wanted to add this real quick too. He was actually talking about Bitcoin reaching $1 million, right? Like John McAfee has said. He says that it's probably going to go through some hyperinflation in which we could see price drops of $20,000. And he says we'll consider that to be insignificant, but he does expect Bitcoin and Litecoin to show subito motus, which is Latin for sudden movement soon, saying that this will leave uninformed investors and technical analysts at a loss. However, we are hearing about other people saying that Bitcoin has a lot more to fall. Okay, so it says right here, and this is from Kernel Trader, they're basically saying that while all these people are expecting that Bitcoin will eventually moon isn't necessarily bearish, they're actually saying that it might be a sign that cryptocurrencies are still too high valuation. So basically, Kernel Trader suggested that this is the only bull market in history where parabolic gains have been expected, okay? Basically, in all the past rallies, people were like joking like, oh, Bitcoin will, I hope it hits, or, maybe it'll hit. But apparently now it's like with absolute conviction, like we are going to hit 100K, 250, a million, right? And because of that, they say that basically there might have been a little bit of complacency and that we do need a bigger flush to wipe out, to capitulate, to get the weak hands out. I mean, let me know what you think. They compare it to November and December of 2018, where they were basically saying you had prominent cryptocurrency firms dumping their staff as capital runways became short. Analysts were calling for sub 200 Bitcoin prices, and mainstream media was basically claiming that the gravy train had ended and Bitcoin was dead. So let me know what you guys think about it. I mean, we had our capitulation, I think. I don't think we need to go lower. I just think what we're doing is having a correction after having a 400% pump. Let me know, though. Like I said, I do try to be relatively neutral. Obviously, I am a Bitcoin bull at heart because I actually love the fundamentals of Bitcoin. But yes, technically, if things are looking bearish, they are. But currently, if you just go back, to our parabolic advance right here, essentially, you can see right here, we started this trend that basically before we had that pop off on April 1st, we still haven't breached that. So as far as I'm concerned, Bitcoin is still doing just fine. I think we just pumped too hard, too fast, right? But then again, I guess if here I am defending it, doesn't that kind of make the article legit? Well, I guess you have to take it with a grain of salt. But anyway, let's talk about what's going on with Bakkt. So this was kind of a shocking announcement. However, I suppose at this point, should have just expected it. Essentially, they're now planning to offer cash-settled Bitcoin futures. Now, one of the most beautiful things about Bakkt was that it was physically settled futures. You actually needed Bitcoin to trade. Now, if you go to cash, you don't even need to hold Bitcoin, right? And that just brings us back to what the CME futures was doing, which was essentially completely wrecking the Bitcoin price, okay? So Chief Operating Officer Adam White pretty much confirmed this, and they say that they are in discussions with the Monetary Authority of Singapore. Interesting. Singapore. I wish I could have gone to the conference. Damn it. The country's central bank and financial regulatory authority to offer the planned product. So yeah, there you go. Basically, Bakkt is just going to do what the CME is doing, so it doesn't even matter anyway. How are they doing today on volume anyway? 142, 177. Ooh, today is not an exciting day for Bakkt. Not a big day for futures trading today. But here's one thing You guys know fundamentally, I always love to talk about things like this on the channel. And actually, I'm going to add my own little anecdote, my own little story at the end if you're interested. So you can see right here, it says nearly a million angry customers of India's Punjab and I don't know, cooperative whatever bank. Essentially, they're panicking as they're struggling to access their money. The bank is under investigation for alleged fraud of 600 million. So they're basically saying its customers who have been protesting for weeks have only been able to withdraw $700 from their accounts. Actually, this guy in the beginning right here, like I thought this guy was going to straight up cry in the beginning. He was super upset. He was like, what can I do? My life savings. But, you know, essentially, really what this made me think of was a situation that I actually had over the weekend. Now, just if you guys aren't interested in the story, just skip ahead. We'll get right back to the news. But this actually affected me personally. So I was trying to buy a TV at Best Buy over the weekend on Saturday, right? Well, I guess it was after my banking hours and the service hotline was closed. And they, for some reason, thought it was a suspicious purchase, okay? It wasn't, it was me, but there was nothing I could do. I couldn't call the only thing I was able to do was basically call a number that would turn off my card in case, you know, somebody was trying to use it. That was it. I couldn't call somebody to tell them, hey, don't worry, it's just me trying to use my card, right? And then get this, because Monday was a holiday here in New York, or the US, I'm sorry, in general, I couldn't use it on Monday either. So I was not able to access my bank account literally the whole weekend until just yesterday, okay? Which is absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, I know they were trying to protect me, I get it, but the fact that I couldn't access my money, which was rightfully mine, literally for an entire weekend, and then I had to deal with a holiday, crazy, guys. And this to me is why I believe in Bitcoin. I thought to myself, you know, if I had Bitcoin, I could just send it to you right now. I mean, even with the 10-minute wait, right? 10 minutes is way too long. 10 minutes is better than 4 days waiting for my bank to come back from their holiday, right? So just wanted to kind of point that out. I needed to vent, I needed to rant, but let me know, has anything like that ever happened to you before where you just thought to yourself, man, Bitcoin fixes this, you know? Anyway, so having a look right here, switching gears, is Ethereum DeFi the answer to the global debt crisis? I don't actually have that answer, but I did want to talk about Ethereum looking kind of good right now. And I wanted to let you guys know that I did actually scoop up some more Ethereum. I'm not leverage trading Ethereum. I'm actually just accumulating it right now. I might be looking to trade Ethereum, maybe if I see it, but see why I'm looking at it right here? The VPVR is the strongest at the $180 level, which I told you guys anything under 180 was a steal. I've been telling you guys that, not recently, but like a month ago I said that. And you can see right here, look at the VPVR. It literally just drops off. And right after about 189.90, I mean, there's literally nothing here. So basically what I'm saying is I think if Ethereum breaks out of this this little wedge right here and we get above this $190 level, right, or actually, especially above like $193, I think the next stop is about 208 bucks. So yeah, that's why I've accumulated and I might be looking to potentially trade it. In fact, talking about the altcoins in general, they do still look like they're doing quite well. They're still holding this trend. You know, they were actually coming out of their own sort of descending wedge, right? Kind of similar to what Bitcoin is doing, right? Bitcoin's putting in a wedge. The altcoins put in a wedge, or they were, you know, trying to, and then they broke out as well. So does look kind of good for altcoins. Speaking of altcoins, BNB, Binance, they are looking to include 180 fiat pairs within the next few months. So yeah, I mean, they're just building. That sounds pretty good. And I wanted to end on this story. This is sort of something that I wanted to put at the end of the video. But basically, they've been talking about the idea. The name of this article, by the way, is called Bitcoin, Not Blockchain, is shaping up to be the theme for 2020. Now, I wanted to talk about this because it's almost the end of the year now. We're at mid Q3, right? Yeah, November. Yeah, I mean, basically mid Q4. And the altcoins really haven't taken off the way that you thought they would have at this point. And you had seen a while, it was all about blockchain, not Bitcoin. But are people really focusing on the killer app once again, which is Bitcoin itself? You can see they actually say that venture funding to blockchain startups has fallen nearly 60% as per CB Insight estimates. So from relying on venture capitalists to being forced to bootstrap, the challenges pure blockchain startups faced in 2017 and 2018 have only been amplified. Now, you would think that with the markets recovering, Bitcoin recovering, that this would be better, but they're actually saying it's even more difficult. It's harder to get the trust from the investors. In fact, you may be familiar with Meltem Demirors, CIO of CoinShares. She actually declared blockchain is dead at the Invest New York conference that just happened. blockchain is dead. That's a little bit extreme, don't you think? Digital Assets Data Chief Mike Alfred also thinks enterprise blockchain usage is at least temporarily muted, but unlike Demirors, Alfred doesn't believe this translates into the death of blockchain. So, not to say that blockchain can't solve everything. Let's be realistic here. There's really good use cases for blockchain, right? Supply chain, amazing, right? Logistics. Voting on the blockchain is great, right? But it doesn't actually fix everything. And in fact, in certain situations, it kind of makes sense to just leave it centralized, right? And it does. And that's coming from me, right? Not everything needs to be on a blockchain. And you can see they say that Bitcoin works because people have a financial interest in it working, right? There's miners. There's just so much to it, right? But if a blockchain exists just for data and transmission, there's no on-chain economic incentive. It's purely speculation, especially dealing with these tokens. You're holding these tokens, you're not getting dividends, you're not being rewarded based on anything really related to the success or failure of the blockchain startup, right? So what is the incentive? It isn't truly trustless, as data alone can be tampered with, and it is susceptible to a single point of failure. So let me know what you guys think about that. This is why I think that, you know, essentially when we do have the next alt run, the next altcoin run, whatever, I don't necessarily think it's going to be all the altcoins. I mean, coming over to CoinMarketCap, okay? I remember when the cryptocurrencies up here were less than 2,000. It was like 1,800 cryptos. Now there's 4,798 cryptocurrencies. There's no way that you could tell me every single one of these has a purpose, has a meaning, has a true utility. There's just no way, guys. A lot of them are cash grabs, a lot of them are scams, and a lot of them, they don't really even have a use inside the ecosystem, right? So I just wanted to kind of end on, not a negative note, I want to end on a positive note. Swiss crypto broker Bitcoin Suisse is partnering with European payment and transaction service provider Worldline to boost crypto payment acceptance in the country. The new system will be available for the 65,000 Swiss merchants currently using Worldline's nationwide payment infrastructure. The firms have pledged that the service will be intuitive and easy to use for sales staff and consumers, with payments to the merchants obviously being made, in fiat. They're going to do the conversion for you. But they say in the future, Worldline intends to roll out the crypto payment provision Europe-wide. So there you go. And that is where we are going to end today's video. So let me know what you think. I know I had a lot of different topics today, but let's be honest, Bitcoin got rejected and we're just bouncing around the 8.7K level again. So I figured I'd take the time to dive into some sort of, just questions about bear, bull, Bitcoin versus blockchain. Will all the altcoins come back, and the fact that now Bakkt has also moved to cash settled. So not really that bullish, right? That they're offering that now, but I kind of feel like you knew they were going to do it. I mean, now they're coming out with the options too, so it was going to happen. It was inevitable, but that's enough for me, guys. No more rambling today. It is Wednesday. It is hump day. Tomorrow is Thursday. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency land, because Bitcoin and cryptos never sleep. Surprisingly, I don't know how I find time to sleep. But that's why I'm the crypto zombie. So thank you so much again for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. Thank you so much. Once again, if you guys are interested in the ledger, drop that